Welcome back. I'm N.S. Lavanya, Assistant Professor, Department of English, KCS Kasinadar College of Arts and Science. In this video, you are going to learn the role of translation in Romantic Age. Goethe, distinction between types of translation and stages in a hierarchy, aesthetic evaluation indicate the change in attitude to translation. Coleridge, Romantic poet, in his Biographia Literaria, outlined his theory of the distinction between fancy and imagination. He asserts that imagination is the supreme creative and organic power as opposed to the lifeless mechanism of fancy. This theory connects with the theory of the opposition of mechanical and organic form outlined by the German theorist and translator August Wilhelm Schlegel in his Verlexen über, translated into English in 1813. Both the English and the German theories raise the question of how to define translation. It is a creative or mechanical enterprise. In the Romantic debate on the nature of translation, the ambiguous attitude of a number of major writers and translators can be seen in this age. A.W. Schlegel asserts that all acts of speaking and writing are acts of translation. The role and nature of communication is to decode and interpret messages received. He also insisted that the form of the original should be retained. He maintained Dante's Terza Rima in his own translations. That proves the example best. Whereas Friedrich Schlegel conceived of translation as a category of thought rather than as an activity connected only with language or literature. The spirit that transcends the everyday world and recreates the universe led to re-evaluation of the poet's role in time. The emphasis on the rediscovery of great individuals of the past who shared a common sense of creativity in translation. The idea of all writers at all times involved in the process of repeating. And Black rightly says, the great scholar and poet says, the divine body in every man resulted in a vast number of translations. Examples are Schlegel text translations of Shakespeare, Carey's version of Divina Commedia. Others are large inter-traffic of translations of critical works and of contemporary writings. Many texts were translated at this time that have a seminal effect on the TL. Example, German authors into English, Scott and Byron into French and Italian. Critics have found it difficult to distinguish between influence study and translation study proper. Stress on the impact of the translation in the target culture resulted in a shift of interest away from the actual process of translation. Two conflicting tendencies can be seen in the early 19th century. One exalts translation as a thought with the translator as a creative genius. The other sees a translation in terms of the more mechanical function of making known a text or author. The preeminence of the imagination as opposed to the fancy leads to the assumption that translation must be inspired by the higher creative force. If poetry is perceived as a separate entity from language, then the translator must read between the words of the original and produce the text behind the text. In his study of Shelley and translation, Timothy Webb shows how the ambiguousness of the role of the translator is reflected in his writings. He further says, Shelley saw translation as an activity with a lower status, as a way of filling in the gaps between inspirations. He points out that Shelley appears to shift from translating works admired for their ideas to translating works admired for their literary graces. The shift is significant as it follows Gothe's hierarchy of translating. The assumption that meaning lies below and between language created an impasse for the translator. Susan Bassnett clearly advocates two ways to come out of the predicament: the use of literal translation, the use of an artificial language somewhere in between the SL text where the special feeling is conveyed through strangeness. That's the end. Thanks for watching this video. We meet again in the next video.